Let's talk Toro versus Bad Boy stand-on edition. On my right, I got a couple of Toro models. We're not trying to pit one exact model against another. Let's talk in kind of generalities on these stand-on machines here. So we've got a 60-inch grandstand right here, and this has their big block Kawasaki, the FX1000V. And then another Toro that we've got over here is kind of their claim to fame in the stand-on. It's their multi-force. That has an hydraulic system on it that gives you all kinds of different capabilities. And what are we comparing that against? We're looking at a Bad Boy Revolt. So they've been running this Revolt for a very long time. They've been growing that market share with the standard Revolt, but this is something that's new this year. They have a Revolt X. You can get it standard with or without twheels. We happen to get this one in standard without the twheels. Anytime you see that X on a Bad Boy, you're gonna have a twheel option as a standard. Let's start over here with the Toro, and then let's kind of go back and forth with some comparisons. So one monster advantage that you're always going to get with Toro is when you get into this high-end commercial, you're going to have a 5-year warranty on that machine. They're going to cut that off at about 1,200 hours. Really strong warranty. It's one of the best advantages when you go over to a Toro machine. They've been in the game a long time. They stand behind their product. Just really awesome warranty that you do see over on the Toro side. So they're going with kind of this rectangular tube design, as I mentioned earlier. But this is big and bad for Toro, and I like of the classic frame designs that Toro has. These both have their standard Turbo Force deck. The Turbo Force deck that's been around a long time. They give you a baffling system that you can have this for dry or wet conditions. Toro is known for quality of cut, and that's what you're gonna get with their Turbo Force deck. One thing that Toro does compared to that Bad Boy is they kind of pull this engine back and give you a little bit more front room where you could add a basket or something else like that. So kind of a nice advantage with Toro that you got a little bit more room up here. Let's go ahead and look at the platform back here for Toro on the back side of this machine. So Toro has a very much standardized kind of square pad that's right here. Nothing too fancy going on, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. I think that's what Toro's doing. This is a heavy duty piece right here that does give you a little bit of, padding. But I'm probably like the worst one to talk to you guys about stand-on machines because I'm 6'8". They designed these for a standardized type of person. Most of you guys are probably gonna be like operating more in this sense right here. I like how strong this is. They have, if I flip this up and kind of press this in, they have some padding right here, just something that's really simple that's gonna give you added stability. And an advantage with stand-on machines, and this is really, I feel, talking to the landscapers right here, you have much less of a wheelbase and you can fit a lot more of these onto a trailer. And it's nice that you can do that, something you may wanna take advantage of. And then you're gonna see those shock absorbers that you do get some stability right here on your machine. Now, if you look here at this cutting system, got a couple demos that have been used a little bit, so kind of keep that in mind. You can set this pin to wherever you want. So I can set this at 3 inches, and then I can go ahead and pull this back and it will drop to that deck height. It's a really rigid, strong design. It's really simple how you can move that up and down right there. So this is the grandstand multi-force, and the regular grandstand is gonna be very similar up here. You got 2 rigid bars, and when you're on a stand-on machine, you're gonna use that for stability to kind of pull yourself forward. You're gonna have a little bit thicker bar on this compared to the Bad Boy, which is a feeling that I like a little bit more. So when I'm trying to operate, as far as how this machine works, you can simply, with the parking brake in the downward position, I can get off of this when I see something in the yard. And I like that from Toro. If you have these down right here and you are cutting, you can actually come off of this for 3 or 4 seconds, and then the blades will stall out after about 5 or 6 seconds. It's gonna automatically shut down for you if it does not feel operator presence. With these down, it's really easy to get mowing again without having to restart your entire machine. If I look at how that compares to the Bad Boy, the steering arms in this area, this is a little bit skinnier. I wish Bad Boy would beef that up a little bit because I like stronger feel. But one thing I do like with Bad Boy is this rigid back here. But this area right here, depending on how fast I want to go, can move to different areas. If I know I'm going to be going a little bit slower, I want to control my speed, I can set this back here. But if I want to get max speed, I can obviously get a lot more throw out of that handle and get more speed. This is a different kind of a pin system. With Bad Boy, you actually pull this lever back and you have to flip it real quick and it will drop to that point. But I don't think someone should have to be able to flip it that fast. Now, if you don't have that really fast flipping motion, you could pull it back, but I think it's kind of wild to have to reach across and pull that up. So I like the Toros just a little bit more. Let's look back here at this kind of padded system. This is where it's gonna vary from brand to brand because you got a standard Revolt and then you have the Revolt X. This is a nice pad. It's actually a little bit better pad and a little bit side protection compared to the Toro, but it goes to a whole nother level when you go to the Revolt X that's on here. Just a really nice cushion. This platform I don't think is quite as heavy duty, and they do something somewhat similar. Kind of harder to see, but they do have a couple of rubber pads that are in here that add and give you stability as you're on here and give you kind of some of that ride comfort as well. And if you guys watch any videos I have on the channel, you know I'm a bit of a transmission buff, so got to talk transmissions on these as well. So on the Bad Boy side, this has the larger hydro gear transmission that's in here, and you got a bit of a different system that's really unique that Bad Boy is doing this year. In their Revolt X, they have really high-end kind of separate pump and wheel motor setup. So it's a hydro gear pump and a separate hydro gear wheel motor. A lot of these systems are unitized, meaning they've got one pump, one wheel motor, all under one housing. They get separate hoses that connect the two of these systems, so I really like that. Now moving back to the Toro side over here. Now Toro gives you serviceable transmissions just like the Bad Boy. They actually have the reservoir up here. It's really easy to access this hydraulic reservoir, and underneath this, it's a tough torque transmission. John Deere runs a lot of tough torques. I'm not sure which other companies are using a lot of tough torque transmissions. I think it's the way that the system kind of fits together. They fit that tough torque system a little bit better. That's a really good system as well. With Toro, they do leave you a little bit more room up front, like I stated before. Nice thing with Toro is you can flip this up and you could actually grab access to that mower deck. Bad Boy is notoriously kind of open, accessible, easier to kind of access different points. And I'd say that kind of rings true in this case, right? As you look at the Revolt and the Revolt X, there's a lot of open spaces to get to things. It's nice that Toro kind of gives you that front compartment that you can maybe set some things, a basket. With Bad Boy, you can take this off and you can add a front hitch. It's actually standard on this Revolt X, so you could do something, and I've seen some of our landscape guys add that in so they can have like a toolbox or something out front there too. With Bad Boy, you get a 3-gauge deck on their R series mower. So you got a really thick, heavy duty deck on this Bad Boy side. With Toro, it's a 7-gauge deck, not quite as thick, but like I said, Toro adds that bull-nosed edge. That adds a lot of reinforcement. Both of these are using 5/8 belt systems, heavy duty spindles, and for as much as I like the accessibility, what Bad Boy does, you have a couple of pieces that you got to pull to be able to pull this off right here. It's just a little bit more time, and it's a system that I really like over on the Toro side, that I can simply pull this back and I can get access to the spindles, I think, a little bit easier over on this Toro system. When it's a really big Bad Boy advantage, they give you tons of different engine options. With Toros, it seems like a little bit less. I really like, because they came out with this model somewhat recently. They got a really big block engine, and they came out the HDX series, which has some more bigger block capabilities. On their multi-force, they exclusively run this Kohler Command Pro 26.5 fuel injected engine. If you have not seen me talk about engines, definitely check out the engine video where we talked about all the different engine types, and I talk about how this is an absolute fuel sipping type engine when you get a fuel injected Kohler. Why do they put it as a standard on this multi-force mower? This is something that we routinely here in Michigan sell with a plow. You can add a bagger attachment, you can put a dethatcher, tons of different accessories, snow blowers, a blower attachment, and so there's just so many different things you can put on here. That's a huge advantage on the Toro side. Just like an unlimited amount of things you can do with the multi-force. So it depends on which attachments you need if you're gonna consider that machine. Talk about price points on here. With Toro, you get a bigger warranty, you get a bigger price tag with Toro as well. You know, by the time you add a couple different attachments on here, you're getting north of $20,000 for a machine. But if you're getting a wind turbine blower, something like that, with some other attachments, instead of buying all those dedicated machines, this is something that you got to buy one machine, and it does save you money if you already were going to buy those other things. If you're talking here with this big block, you're in like a $12,000, $13,000 price point. I'll say I can feel a difference in kind of like the robustness between these machines right here and the Revolt. There's just kind of like a force of nature feel that's behind these. But what's the advantage right here is price point, because this has a fuel injected 31 horsepower Kawasaki engine. It's got some really heavy duty components like the deck. That transmission's not quite as big, and I think that's part of that feeling that you're getting. Get this at a price point of $83.99. That is an awesome price point for this high end of a commercial mower. With Bad Boy, you get a 2-year unlimited hour warranty. Not quite as good as the Toro side. Engines are always going to give you a 3-year warranty from the manufacturer, so that's going to me the case with either of these. They made leaps and bounds, I'll say, on this Revoltex this year. They give you a heavier duty front framing. It's like a tank-like feeling when you're behind this mower, and this thing absolutely rips in forward and reverse. So it's a really fast moving mower, and the fact that you can get that big block engine on it at a price point of $12,649, you're spending less and you're getting a really robust tank-like feeling over in here. So this has been a really popular mower for us this year for guys to consider, and they've just done some different things with the styling, the fender flares, and just the robustness of what you're getting. They're really trying to compete with some of these other brands that have had maybe a little bit higher price point than what Bad Boy's traditionally been at, but they've added some really high-end transmissions in here and engine that you're truly getting a really robust feeling with that Revoltex. If those price tags scare you away when you're getting into $12, $13, $14, $15,000, man, is this an awesome option under $10,000 that we have guys just absolutely love. And there's so many pictures of the striping and, you know, everything comes with that. So lots to consider. I could talk about specs all day long. As you can see, ultimately you got to get on one of these. Even if your dealer doesn't have a demo for you to take out, just drive these around. You're gonna have a sense, you're gonna have a feeling with these as you go through. Hope that gives you guys a little bit more insight on both of these models here. You know, whether you're considering a stand-on between Bad Boy or Toro, definitely get with your dealer, get on some of these machines. Until the next one, we'll see you.